You're 65 with $5 million saved up. Your question isn't, can I retire? It's what can I comfortably spend in retirement and what will that look like? Well, today I'm going to walk you through a financial plan of a couple in the same situation as you. And by the end of this video, my goal is that you will have all the information needed to make the right spending decision for yourself. Hi, I'm Kenney, wealth advisor with the Noble Group, with more than 19 years experience working with people just like you. Let me introduce you to our clients, Chandler and Monica. Chandler is 65, as well as Monica. They have 2 kids grown and out on their own, and 2 grandkids who are in elementary school. So first, let's dive into their retirement goals. They're ready to retire right now, and they're thinking about a monthly base spending amount of $15,000 a month or $180,000 annually. On top of that, they like to have $24,000 annually in vacation money for the next 15 years, and we're allocating about $13,000 annually between the both of them for Medicare costs, which is based on the national healthcare spending average for 65-year-olds. Any potential spending outside of these costs, we can just wrap into their monthly base spending amount. Now, legacy is a big concern for Chandler and Monica, but they want to do more than just leave a lump sum when they pass. On top of taking their family on vacations with that annual $24,000 allocation, they also want to give throughout retirement to fund their grandkids' college and help their kids either save for their own retirements or pay down debt. Right now, we've put aside $10,000 for each of their kids on an annual basis. Now, their last goal, which isn't really shown in the plan, but is still very important, is tax minimization. Tax laws put in place in July 2025 means that they could potentially take advantage of an increased standard deduction, lower tax rates, and wider tax brackets, so they want to make sure that their plan allows them to maximize these potential tax benefits. If you're interested in learning more about how these tax changes could benefit you, click here to watch my deep dive video covering it. Okay, so now that we know their goals, let's look at what we're working with in terms of assets. They have a $5 million portfolio split between 401ks that they just rolled over to IRAs, a joint investment account, and a couple of Roth IRAs. Now, from a tax status perspective, they've got 60% in tax-deferred assets, which means they'll need to pay taxes on that when they take it out. About 39% is in taxable assets. These are all investments, so when they're ready to spend this money, they'll need to pay tax on any gains they've made on it and dividends and interest each year. And finally, they've got the last 1% or so in tax-free assets. Now, based on their goal of tax minimization and leaving a legacy, we'll be looking at potentially increasing this proportion of their assets so their tax-free bucket makes up a bigger piece of their portfolio. We'll talk more about that later. Okay, so now that we have their goals and their assets laid out, let's test their chances and analyze their probability of success. What I'm going to do is run 1,000 trials. Each of these trials represents a random market scenario that could potentially occur over their retirement years. So why do we have to do this? Well, no one knows for sure exactly what the market is going to do down the road, right? We can make guesses and estimations based on previous market performance, but when it comes down to it, we just don't know exactly where the market will be at a particular point in time. So to determine how successful Chandler and Monica's plan would be in a wide variety of potential market situations, we run these 1,000 trials. Now, for this plan, in about 880 out of the 1,000 simulations, Chandler and Monica were able to live out their retirement and meet all of their spending and giving goals. This means the probability of success is 88%. Now, you may say, well, what does 88% mean? Don't we want them to be at 100%? Well, in reality, 88% is a really good spot for them to be, especially before we've even started to build out a full financial plan. In our planning software, our confidence zone is between 75% and 90%. If Chandler and Monica's score is 75%, we start to lose confidence that their plan will be able to pan out in the way we hope. Anything above 90%, Chandler and Monica would likely be leaving a lot of money on the table when they pass and wouldn't be spending what they deserve to be spending in retirement based on their savings. So yes, 88% is a great starting point, but there's still a lot of room for improvement. So let's start this process to see the power of what good financial planning can add. And by the way, to start this process for yourself, you can click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to get a free video review from us. Be sure to stick around until the end of the video to learn more. There's three main areas we can look at to try and optimize their retirement picture: changing their Social Security strategy, utilizing some additional tax planning strategies, and making adjustments to their asset allocation. So first, let's start with Social Security. They're currently planning on filing right now at age 65, but that may not be the best option for them. There's three reasons. One is the monthly benefit amount. By taking right at 65, they're leaving a lot of money on the table compared to delaying until full retirement age at 67 or delaying all the way until 70. Now, if we didn't expect them to live super long, we may want to jump on Social Security now, but they're both healthy and their parents lived well into their 80s, so we're not banking on that. We've actually set their life expectancies at 90 for Chandler and 92 for Monica, which is pretty consistent with current US life expectancy averages. The second point is that on top of all of this, they don't need the income from Social Security right now. Now, if they had a smaller portfolio, waiting another 5 years to take Social Security could put a significant strain on their assets, which could seriously affect their chances of success. But with $5 million, we're not concerned about that here. The third reason starting Social Security right now may not be a good decision is that we're losing out on a window of opportunity for tax planning. By taking Social Security immediately, they'd be subjecting themselves to more taxable income, which would reduce the effectiveness of a number of tax planning strategies. Now, we'll be utilizing some of these strategies later on to improve their plan, and we'll get into more detail here in a minute. So, since we're planning for long life expectancies for Chandler and Monica, and the fact that they don't need that Social Security money right away to supplement their portfolio, let's look at delaying Social Security until 70. When we do this, we can see that we'll be earning them an extra $600,000 in total lifetime benefits as compared to taking it at age 65. Okay, so we've adjusted their Social Security strategy. Now let's look at tax planning. As we just alluded to, delaying Social Security built us a window of opportunity to make some improvements here. Most importantly, it allows us to make some very efficient Roth conversions because we'll have more room to fill up lower tax brackets. Roth conversions are simply moving IRA assets into a Roth IRA and paying the taxes now when we know that taxes are lower. Money in the Roth can grow tax-free for spending later in the plan or leaving a tax-efficient legacy. Now, if we had Social Security checks coming in while they were trying to do these, we'd be filling up more of their brackets with taxable income because up to 85% of Social Security benefits can be counted as taxable income depending on your total income. This would mean, as a result, that we would have less freedom to make Roth conversions without bumping Chandler and Monica into a higher tax bracket. So with this strategy, delaying Social Security until 70 and utilizing Roth conversions in a tax-efficient way up until that point, we'd be adding more than $200,000 in assets by the end of their plan and saving them over $460,000 in taxes over their whole retirement. The final thing we can do to improve their plan is making adjustments to their asset allocation. Currently, they have about 2/3 of their portfolio in equities, which in their case is mainly the S&P 500, and the other third is in fixed income and cash. Now, this is a bit more aggressive than we would probably like for their situation. As clients get older and near retirement, we want to take some risk off the table and shift to a focus of preserving rather than growing their assets. With their current allocation, I say we've got too much invested in equities and not enough in cash. And their risk score reflects this. The planning software gives them a target risk score of 55, and right now we're at 68. We want to drop down the amount of risk we're taking and get them closer to a target number of 55. So let's adjust their allocation to a more balanced approach. Now we're half equities and half fixed income and cash. And side note, when we talk about equities in their financial plan, we're not just picking random stocks and calling it a day. We're making intentional selections based on their risk appetite and their personal situation. Their investments will be different than even another 65-year-old client and would be vastly different than a client in their 40s or 50s. So with the allocation adjustment, we're able to drop their risk score to 53, which puts them right next to their target score. Now, Chandler and Monica can be more confident that we're taking a more reasonable amount of risk for their situation and goals. Okay, so we've improved Chandler and Monica's plan through Social Security changes, tax planning, and asset allocation adjustments. Now's the moment of truth. How has their probability of success changed? Well, now instead of sitting at 88%, Chandler and Monica have increased their score to 96%. Now this is technically above their confidence zone, but that's not a bad thing, because what this really means is that they have a lot of flexibility in this plan to make additional adjustments. As we laid out earlier, they've currently got a $15,000 monthly base spending goal, a $24,000 annual travel goal for the next 15 years, and we've set aside an extra $20,000 annually for their kids. But now that we see there's some wiggle room, how far can we take this spending and still be confident that their plan will work? So first, Chandler and Monica said, okay, Jared, what if we start with just increasing our monthly spending amount to $17,000? What does that look like? Well, that puts us at 89%, which is right at the top end of our confidence zone. And remember, before we started to build their financial plan, they were sitting at 88% success at $15,000 in monthly spending. So we've been able to both increase their chances of success and allow them to spend more with this financial planning. But this also means we still have room to try even more. So then they said, all right, if we stay at that $17,000 base monthly spending and we allocate an extra $1,000 a month on vacation spending, is that doable? And it is. With this adjustment, they would still be sitting at 85%, which I'm still very happy with. But the final thing they wanted to test was increased spending on their kids. Instead of the $20,000 annually they've currently allocated, what if we reset their monthly base spending to $15,000, reset their vacation spending to $24,000, but then increase their spending on their kids from $10,000 each to the annual gifting limit of $19,000 each? Well, once again, we find that this is totally doable. We're actually above our confidence zone again at 92%. So what I hope you're seeing here is Chandler and Monica have a lot of different options when it comes to spending their money confidently in retirement. And by taking the time to build a plan and trying to optimize their retirement portfolio, we've opened a lot of doors for them when it comes to how they spend their money. So the original question, how much can you comfortably spend in retirement with $5 million saved up? Well, with Chandler and Monica, there was never a question about whether they could retire. It was whether they would have enough flexibility to live the retirement they deserve to live. And through this financial plan, we're able to build that flexibility for them. We showed that they can spend around $20,000 on a monthly basis, spread across their various spending goals like vacationing and helping out their kids, while still remaining on the high end of the confidence zone. Now, Chandler and Monica can walk away confident that they've improved their financial picture and can live retirement on their terms. So now it's your turn. We want to give you a free video review of your finances so you can see where you stand and how you can improve your own retirement picture. To start the process, scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description, fill out our short financial survey, and then we'll record a free video review with personalized recommendations. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.